To me, this looks like a beautiful kind of unplanned order, like the order you find in nature. Here, I see people using a street the way they need to, meeting their practical needs without any master plan. Humans are pedestrians by design, and this is illustrating that.
This was what a typical San Francisco street looked like in 1906. And this is what it looks like today. More than a century later, cars have come to define modern life. But increasingly, concerns over climate change, pedestrian deaths, and traffic violations have compelled many communities to try and challenge the status quo.
Change is hard. It's difficult to give up a habit of driving your private vehicle when you've done it your whole life. But if you have an opportunity to think differently about the way you travel around the city, whether it's public transit or bicycle or walking even, that you have an opportunity to do that safely. And that is really what we're talking about in reimagining our streets.
Nowhere is that battle more keenly felt than in California, the very state where car culture was founded. In the last year alone, several Bay Area municipalities banned right turns at red lights. New bike lane projects have fueled bitter feuds between neighbors. And the state made two major changes to the law, relaxing jaywalking restrictions and taking steps to free up land once reserved for parking spaces. But one of the biggest victories took place on this stretch of road. What was once a main artery for vehicles, JFK Drive has now become JFK Promenade, a 1.5-mile car-free oasis in Golden Gate Park.
Let's get used to it, everybody. Promenade, promenade, not drive.
In April of 2020, the San Francisco City Council decided to temporarily ban cars on JFK so that residents could recreate safely during the pandemic. The closure was popular and fueled a grassroots movement to make the ban permanent.
I would never in a million years think that we should ask to keep this park closed 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That is outrageous to ask for. But we got it.
Nearly 60% of San Francisco voted to keep JFK closed to car traffic, despite vocal opposition from some of the park's museums and residents, citing congestion and parking concerns.
And I think it really shook up politics in San Francisco, because now you have a whole different electorate that isn't what it was, 10 years ago.
It feels safe. It feels like people see you. Right.
With the pandemic and people needing to be outside, it allowed for people to see what we have, as an organization and our membership, have been talking about for 5 decades, which is this is a park. People should be prioritized in this space. It would make this park more amazing. And so I think that that is the key to these spaces. It builds community in a way that you get to know who you live next to or someone who lives 6 blocks away.
That is the obligation of your city to give you a place like that. Even while we're talking here about everything, I just feel like this is the coolest thing in the world. This is the coolest thing in the world.
Just across the bay, however, a fierce debate is unfolding over Berkeley's proposed biking infrastructure, particularly along Hopkins Street, a busy corridor that encompasses residential areas in a bustling commercial district.
It's a great street. It's a great place to live. It's why people are worried about it getting screwed up, frankly.
At the start of the pandemic, the city unveiled a plan to create new protected bike lanes along some of Hopkins' busiest blocks by eliminating much of the street's parking spaces. Supporters point to the plan as a necessary commitment to street safety, equity, and climate action. But opponents believe that this will be detrimental for older residents, local business, and street congestion.
Our society is not a one-size-fits-all society. It needs to be tailored, bit by bit, street by street. The literature tells us that protected bike lanes definitely have a place, but this is not one of them. This is a place that is highly residential, has enormous numbers of driveways and cross streets and offset streets coming in. It's an emergency evacuation route from the hills, and there are a lot of elderly people in this area. So that means there are a lot of 911 calls. And those all become things that are affected by a constriction of the lanes of traffic. But I'm not going to deny that it comes back to being about parking in addition to a number of other issues. It just is. That's why this opposition has sprung up, is this assault on your being able to peacefully live out the rest of your life, and this assault on the viability of the commercial area.
The Berkeley City Council plans to hold a special meeting in April to vote on the project. Residents like Dietmar aren't letting up.
We're not about not being progressive anymore. We're not about trying to stop people from being safe on bikes. We're not about any of that. We're about doing what's reasonable in this stretch that actually accomplishes the purposes that you want to accomplish.
The future we build in our infrastructure and also in our laws and our practices follows from something more fundamental, namely, what do we think a street is for? What do we think is the right way for a city to serve its people?
The next iteration of our work has to be about meeting communities that historically have not received advocates to help them, that we are prioritizing those communities and meeting them where they're at. It's not always going to be about the bicycle, and that's okay. I think it's about safer streets and understanding what the community wants to see.